This is Cowboys Storylines with Nick Eatman.
What is up? It is time for another Cowboys Storyline here Thursday, September 14th? Yeah, 14th, September 14th. Getting ready for the Cowboys and the Jets, and I'm going to let you guys drive the show today because the phone calls already coming in. It's the best part of the show is that just hearing from you guys, letting you get a chance to kind of get things off your chest, good and bad, get stuff you're excited about, stuff you're maybe worried about, or if you want to just talk old Cowboy stuff, give them some old random players. I love it because it always prompts a story or two and old numbers and trivia, whatever you got. Like, I'm here for it. So give you guys a chance to do some stuff. I know I said on this show before, I play that immaculate grid on Pro Football Reference. It's addicting. I play baseball and basketball, but football is I'm better at. Can't do the hockey, sorry. But yeah, I got people tweeting at me, go, "What was your score yesterday?" Because it was Cowboys. It was like Cowboys and Bills. What name of a player and that played for both teams. So I went with Jim Jeffcoat on that one. It's just a fun game though. If you haven't tried it on it's called Immaculate Grid. It's what Pro Football Reference uses. It's really fun. Kind of goes down memory lane a little bit. So, all right, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. If we talk about the Jets, talk about the Giants, still want to go there. Usually we've turned the page by then, but if you want to talk about that game, that's fine with me. All right, let's go to the callers. Let's go right to it here in Kansas City. Brian in Kansas City. Brian, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Hey, I got an old timer for you and a question.
All right.
So my question is, so we haven't seen a lot of, as fans, especially people that don't live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we haven't seen a lot of Jalen Tolbert. So, we saw Brandon Cooks popped up on the injury report. And maybe just tell us a little bit, is he an outside guy only? Can he go in the slot? Can he play, all the positions? What's your view having seen him close up in all those practices and all that stuff?
Yep. Tolbert, I think, he's an inside-outside guy. He can do a little bit of everything. That's what kind of intrigued them about him because when he was at South Alabama, he was a player that he was the best receiver on the field. Hope we didn't lose the caller because he had a former player.
So I'm still here.
Still there? Okay. But why don't you do that? Why don't you tell me your guy, and I'll finish it off about Tolbert so we can clear the lines here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so I was watching the 1972 Dallas Cowboys team, and I saw Rayfield Wright jogging up to the line. I was so happy that he got into the Hall of Fame in 2006, and so sad to see we lost him last year. But Anyway, that was my old timer, and I'm going to hang up and listen to the rest of your answer, brother.
Awesome. Rayfield Wright, what a good one. Okay, going back to Tolbert, Jalen Tolbert, I think what the Cowboys really loved about him at South Alabama was that he was the best player on the field and certainly on offense, and so they had to line him up all different places to create some mismatches, and it was a real problem for teams. So that's what he got, so many catches. So he understood how to do that, and I think that kind of hurt him last year though because he was playing so many different positions that when he got hurt in the offseason, it slowed him down. It slowed him down for a lot of spots. It's easy to just say, learn this here, learn the X, or learn the Z, or whatever. But he was trying to learn all of them because he has that capability. And this year, I think, is so much better for him. So if he has to play more, I think that there's no doubt he would be fine there. A drop off, of course, from Cooks if his knee, he showed up on the knee injury report with a knee injury. But it would be a drop-off for sure, but I still think they have confidence in Tolbert. And I think, more importantly, he's got more confidence in himself. Rayfield Wright, I just remember doing an interview with him one time before he made it to the Hall of Fame, and he just had this quote I'll never forget. He goes, all these yards, all these catches, all these touchdowns, and did no one block? He's talking about no one in the Hall of Fame for the Cowboys. I mean, we got all these guys that done anything, but nobody blocked. And he was just like, just basically touting himself to why is he not in the Hall of Fame? And they corrected that problem for sure. So he was the original Big Cat. I always thought Leon Lett was the Big Cat, but no, he was the original Big Cat. All right, go back to the phone line. I lost it, but I think it was Nick in Austin. Is that what I saw?
Yes, sir. I'm back again.
What's up, man?
Not much. I'm gonna try and do better this time.
That's all right. I don't remember the first call. I'm sure it was great.
No, I was nervous because it's my first time calling in. But
Let's just
I
chat.
wanted to say, I always watched your show you're on before the break, and the thing that I liked about you is that you seem to always have the fans' perspective. That's what I really enjoyed about you. So I want to say that real quick.
Thank you.
Number one, I wanted to say there's a lot of people having concern about, the Jets' defensive line, which I do understand, but I believe that the Giants were, correct me if I'm wrong, pretty much just as stout. It's not close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And with our offense getting the ball out as fast as we are, I think negates a lot of that. You're
right. You're right about that, and that's why Brandon Cooks' injury is so important, because he's the guy that you're going to try to get the ball out quickly. But yeah, you're right about that. The defense is pretty stout right there in the middle, so you want to get it out quick.
And then another one, real quick, is on the other side of the ball on defense. I believe that as long as we can stop their run, if we do good against the run, they're pretty much done.
Yeah.
For the most part now, because Zach Wilson just hasn't been proven to be a good pocket.
Yeah.
Now you do need to watch out for him as far as him scrambling, because from what I've heard and from college and whatnot, is he does have some wheels. He has some legs.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful of that.
I think this is very similar to the Daniel Jones type of thing. I think, Jones was a guy that you have to kind of be careful for. But if you keep him in the pocket, I think you're probably going to be in better shape.
And then one last thing real quick, if I can.
Yeah.
Is that they were talking about how, people were going to be coming back from, injury, and that they were going to sit people. So, for example, Deuce Vaughn, which I like Deuce. I think he'd be great, but I would and they were talking about sitting him versus sitting Turpin. I would much rather sit Deuce right now.
Yeah. Because
obviously Turpin has the experience, and, they're so similar. And since the defense, especially if we sit him out for somebody on defense, such as, Donovan Wilson,
yeah,
it just we need to have continue to build on our strength.
All right.
So
all right,
that's what I have. So thanks so much.
All right, Nick, have a good one. Good day. Thanks for the call. I think what Turpin and Deuce have in common is that they're both not going to get a lot of rebounds. Like that. That's what they have in common. And like in the pickup game, they're not tall. That's really it, though. They are not the same type of player, not the same type of body. They can both make plays, but I think Turpin. You're not sitting Turpin. Turpin's a Pro Bowl, All-Pro return specialist. He's somebody that has teams' respects, and that's a huge deal when you're standing back at midfield when they're pinned back and they want to punt it. You want to just punt it deep. You want to try to angle it and get away from them. Sometimes when you do, that's when you get a shank punt. Like he had some bad punts because him just standing there. So I think that he is valuable in that way, and he's showing some value on offense too. It may be Deuce that's inactive this week just to try to get some of these guys back. I think they'd be fine. If that game was closer, I don't think Deuce plays at all the other night. So as it stands right now, they're probably trying to find some touches for him, and I don't know if that's going to happen. And don't forget, and I did forget actually, I just wanted to remind you guys, Ronald Jones is coming back from suspension next week. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe he's on the roster, maybe he's not, but yeah, he is coming back from suspension next week. All right, Scott in Southern California is on the line. Scott, what's up?
Hey, Nick, how you doing? Love the new show. It's great.
Appreciate
it. Want to use your eyeballs a little bit here.
Okay.
If I could, I know it's hard to compare players, but these two players went up against the same guy, DeMarcus Ware when Tyron was young, and, Micah now that Tyron's a little bit aged. How do those two players compare? And I got a throwback name for you. I'd like to see one of these tight ends turn into is Jay Novacek, and I'll listen to you off the air. Thanks a lot, man.
All right. Appreciate that. D. Ware versus Micah Parsons. Man. Micah Parsons, I'll just say it, Micah Parsons is a better player in his first 2 years than D. Ware was. I think that they're both gonna be wearing gold here, in however many years. I mean, Mike, I think he's destined for that. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but that's where he is. I mean, he's better. I mean, they didn't compare him to D-Ware. I mean, when he first started last year or 2 years ago, I mean, he was getting compared to Lawrence Taylor. That's who his comparison was, and so or Derek Thomas. So with all due respect to DeMarcus Ware, who is in the Hall of Fame and he's the all-time leading, for the Cowboys in sacks, but I think that Micah is trending higher than him right now, and I think in the middle of a game, I think he has that knack of making that really, really big play. That only knock on DeMarcus was that sometimes the sacks were considered hollow, not always to close out the game. He did have some. New Orleans, he closed out the game. That was unbelievable, but I think for the most part, and that was kind of a product of the teams he was on too. He wasn't on the best teams either. He had some great teams he was on, but not all the way. Again, this is no shade at DeMarcus Ware at all. If you're going to compare, I think Micah Parsons is trending higher than him right now. Jay Novacek, great tight end, great fit for that offense with Troy and what they were doing there in the 90s. A perfect complement player to him, and one of those sneaky good blockers. He just knew how to kind of get in the way. But I mean, he was more of a pass catcher, but he could mix it up and get in there. That's about all I could say about him. All right, Travis in San Antonio is the next caller. Travis, what's up?
I'm back, Nick. How's it going?
What's up? You all right? Excited?
I'm good.
Okay. I was going to say, I didn't make sure that nothing bad happened. You seem kind of down.
No, I'm good. I just wanted to say I had a couple things going into this week. I think from what I've heard from Broadus and everybody, they were saying that Michael Carter is the nickel corner for the Jets, and he's kind of just a guy. So I'm curious, and I'm kind of expecting maybe to see a lot of CD in the slot this week. Even more so than maybe even last week, just because you have Sauce and you have DJ Reed outside, and they stay on their sides, which I think is interesting. He doesn't travel, so you can kind of keep, if you want to keep CD away from him, you can, but I think they want to exploit that slot matchup with him. And then I think I want to see what you think about this, but I know everyone's been talking about the offense, and you can't discount the weather, and there were some drops, and, Dak, do you look completely on point? No, but I think this week you're going to see more things that are going to help him out. Short passing game. I think he's going to make some good throws. He made some good throws in that game. They were just dropped. But I'm not too worried about the passing game from that perspective. I think we're going to see an uptick in that. And I really like the fact that they actually Mike McCarthy started using some rubs, some pick routes, the things we've been talking about for years, where we're just like, why don't we do this? In the rules, why don't we take advantage of this? Because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, the CD 49-yard catch. I mean, that was like a double pick. I mean, I was like, thank you.
Yeah,
that's what you need to do.
Yeah, quarterback friend. Like you don't have to have
all day
the hardest throws. Yeah, make it easy for him.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for the call, Travis. I'll say this: week 2 can be. It can be hard to analyze because, week 1, you should still just have one sample size. Doesn't matter what they've done in the preseason. It's really just one game. So the fact that Sauce Gardner typically doesn't travel doesn't mean that he won't. I don't know anything there. I barely, trying to figure out this team, much less anyone else. But I'll say this: I wouldn't just throw it out the window that he doesn't ever do it. His career's not that long. And if Brandon Cooks doesn't play, and I don't know if he will or not. I know he just missed practice yesterday with a knee injury, but even if he's limited, that changes their team a little bit. So they might have to say, look, well, he's got to guard CD. And we'll see, if they throw him all around the place. So just because they have it doesn't mean that they won't. Sometimes you're always trying new wrinkles, new things, and it just doesn't make sense to me if you've got corners like you said that are just the guys that are over there guarding him, and he's over here guarding Michael Gallup and covering Michael Gallup, and then they're getting killed over here. That doesn't make sense. I wouldn't do that. If I have one of the best corners in the league, he's going to have to go against one of the best receivers in the league, especially if I'm getting beat for it. So, but we'll see how it goes. Let's go with another phone call. Dave in Fort Worth. David in Fort Worth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Great, sir. Great, sir. Hey, I got two questions.
Okay.
They're kind of like not necessarily challenging ideology or opinion that you've given in the past, but more so to like kind of clear up, like I guess the opinions that you do hold. So like one of them is kind of regarding some injuries that we've been facing this week. Like, you know, obviously there's Donovan Wilson and Tyler Smith, who, you know, may be able to go this week, may not be able to go this week. And I know that it's very, very important to start off 2-0 because that 1-1 is way different, you know, come the end of the year, come playoff time and stuff. But do you consider, like, if they're not 100% go, just maybe just sitting them? You know, this isn't a divisional game, this isn't a conference game, and we have bigger, brighter things to do in the future? Or do you say we really need to ride high and get all of our guys back to get into this 2-0, because that's way different than 1-1. The second question I have, if it's okay, the second question that I have is with Aaron Rodgers being out, there's been a lot of talk, you know, among the communities and stuff about, man, we really wanted to play the best of the best. We wanted to knock off the king, yada, yada. And that argument is brought up a lot in the playoffs as well in recent years. And I kind of hold the stance of, I just want to see a championship game. I just want to see a Super Bowl. I don't care how I get there. But some people are like, no, I want to take down the best of the best, knowing that you also want to see a championship game. I just kind of want to know what your stance was on that. If you'd rather go there and knock out all the juggernauts, or you'd rather just get there, because we haven't been there.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this. You can answer your own question. Go back last year. You knocked off Tom Brady. You finally did it. And then they lost the next week. If Tom Brady, for some reason, did not play in that game and you found a way to win, what would you rather take? Would you rather have taken them beating some backup? I don't even know who their backup was. You beat the backup, Chris Sims. Who knows who the backup in Tampa Bay? I don't even know. But I'm just saying, you beat their backup, and then you go and you win in San Francisco. Would you take that, or would you take what happened last year?
Me, personally, Nick, 100 times out of 100, I'm hoping that their water boy plays quarterback, because they ran out of people. I just want to get there. I'm 32 years old, so the last time they had that much success,
you weren't.
I was like, I don't even know how old, 5 or something like that.
7,
you know what I mean? So I've been dying for it, man. So it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah. I hear you. All right. I appreciate the call, Dave. I mean, I just think like nobody after the San Francisco game, I don't think any fan was like, God, well, at least we beat Brady last week. I don't think that happens, because when you beat Brady and you beat the Bucs and you get to the divisional round, you're thinking big at this point. Like, this is the year. So you don't just go back and go, well, you know, hey, but we did beat Tom Brady. No, so no one cares if you play Aaron Rodgers or you don't. You know, I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, there will be no asterisk about anything. I know the Lions fans were really mad at Mike Tirico, who said that about asterisk for beating the Chiefs the other night. I don't agree with that. There's no asterisks when it comes to that. There's no asterisks in home run records either, or anything like that. All right. As far as the injuries sit or not, that's not my call. The call is from the Cowboys. They're not going to throw guys out there that aren't ready to play. Now, and the most important thing is getting them healthy, getting them ready for the long haul. Some injuries are different, but based off of, can you hurt it worse? Are you risking things? But for the most part, they are going to be healthy. I mean, 100%. Playoffs might be a little different story, but that'll still come down to the player, and it also will come down to, is this smart for them to go ahead, and are they putting them at risk? And they will not do that. All right, Tom in the Bronx. Tom, what's up?
Hey, Nick, how you doing? Great show.
Great, thanks, Tom.
Can you just spend a minute just talking about Coach Mike McCarthy?
Yeah.
About your opinion on him, and also specifically about the coaching staff that he built with the Cowboys.
Sure.
And I'll hang up and I'll listen.
Well, thanks. I think Mike McCarthy is just a cool dude. Seriously. I mean, like, sometimes what you see is, you know, he's old school. He's buttoned up at times. He doesn't going to give you a lot of things. I mean, he's paranoid, like all coaches are. They think you're giving out too much, and sometimes, you know, they're probably right, you know, in some cases. I think if you're just sitting down having a beer with him, he'd be pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy. Actually, not me by myself, but some other media guys got to do that. And, you know, some of the things that, you know, he says, and just the way he kind of goes about things. I mean, he said this on the air too, but I remember the first time we met him when he was the coach, I just remember him going, all right, guys, like, sure, he caught it. Yeah, Yeah, Dez caught it. But let me tell you this. We had Aaron Rodgers for 4 minutes. I mean, it doesn't matter if he caught it or not. We're going to go win the game. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, probably so. And that's why I've never really been that, like, hell-bent on Dez caught it and all that. He definitely caught it. But I've always went, well, they did have Aaron Rodgers, and there was about 4 minutes to go, and he probably needed a field goal to either win or tie that game. So, the staff that he's built, I mean, he surrounded himself with some coaches. When he first got here, he surrounded himself with a lot of coaches that had been head coaches, I think at 5 at one point, but some veteran guys, and, you know, and not afraid to make changes, too, when they had to. And they had to, you know, they had defense coordinator definitely needed a change, so they got, you know, rid of that and put in, you know, Dan Quinn. And so he's surrounded himself with coaches and guys that he's familiar with. But all coaches do that, whether it be guys he's coached with or guys he coached them, like Al Harris. So, you know, I think he's built a really good staff, and they've built some continuity there. And this year they've had some changes, of course, on the offensive side of the ball. But I think for the most part, you know, he's done a really good job. And, you know, the best thing he can do is get himself prepared, get the team prepared to play. And he's certainly done a good job of that. All right, we're going to take – actually, I got 2 calls on the line, so we'll take a call. Curtis in Oklahoma. Curtis, what's up?
Hey, I just want to say thanks for letting us call into your show. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Curtis. This is why we do it, so you guys can call in and tell me what you're thinking. I'll try to give my thoughts, but I want to hear from you guys. So, what you got?
I just got a few things I'll run through real quick.
Okay.
Trayvon Diggs, his playmaking with the hard hits and the forced fumbles. I mean, wow, just a great way to take his game to the next level. He's already a dynamic playmaker, and adding that, I think, has just been something I really seen and was appreciating.
Okay.
The next thing I want to talk about is, like, when we were paying high-profile players and, like, DeMarcus Ware left to get a Super Bowl ring, I think that's kind of pivoted a little bit, and we have guys like Hooker, Gilmore, these vets that want to come here to try to win Super Bowl is great. Couple that with the way that we handle the draft, and I just think that's awesome for team building. And then the last thing I want to talk about is I hear a lot from Cowboy fans, it only matters what we do in the postseason. I think over the last years, and you look back at some of the years that we had to run, I think there was things in the regular season that we could have done to separate ourselves. Last year, I think to Green Bay and Jacksonville, with how hot the Eagles were, those were definitely missed opportunities. This year, 2 games against Philly and a regular season game against San Francisco, I think are huge opportunities to maybe we don't even see them in the postseason, to hand them a loss or 2. And last year, while we had a great team, we would have been on the road all the way through the postseason, if I remember that correctly. Mm-hmm. And this year, if you can get a bye in that first round and have home field advantage, I just think that's something you can do in the regular season that kind of is against that narrative of, it only matters what we do in the postseason. So right. Thanks for taking my call. I'll hang up and let you, comment to that. Thank you.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, You're right. I mean, it does matter. I mean, the regular season certainly matters. Now, you want to get in the tournament, get in there, and make that's the most important thing. But you're right. These games matter. 17 games. I mean, it's a long season, but it's not a lot when you think about how each game does matter and how it can affect things down the road, especially when you look at division, NFC, tiebreakers, things of that category. So I do think that it's important. Regular season games are always important to me. So I that's why I don't, I said it yesterday, man. If you enjoy the ride, enjoy it because it's not just fun to be here, but it matters too. Like these things matter. Quickly, I'll touch on some of it. I mean, the Trayvon Diggs, he made a huge play. His physicality is showing, and just if he can be if he can be a cornerback that can play like that, it can be a complete corner with the ball skills that he has. I mean, there's no doubt. And they got him locked up for 5 years now or so, 5 more years. I mean, he has a chance to be one of the best, in the league and one of the best the Cowboys have had in a long, long time. All right, let's go back to Al in Merkel, Texas. We've had him the other day. Al, Merkel, Texas. What's up?
Hey, what's going on? I got to represent for the Badgers. Joe from Stanford keeps on representing for the Bulldogs, so I got to keep it up for the Badgers.
All right.
I got 2 things. There for a while, we were really lucky. We had several plays. The the Hail Mary and just stuff that, there were legends made from the Cowboys. And then there for a while, I think we were snake bit. And the reason I say that is because, Jimmy Johnson leaves, but a few months later, correct me if I'm wrong, but the offensive coordinator goes to the Redskins. If Jimmy would have left a little earlier, we could have had our offensive coordinator stay with us and maybe win 1, 2, or more championships. And then the other one was when Parcells left, Peyton had already left a few months earlier to New Orleans. We could have had Peyton coaching Tony Romo.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. I didn't think of it like right. I mean, I guess that one makes a little bit more sense. I mean, I don't think anybody looks at what Norv Turner did with Washington and was like, man, could have had him. I understand that his talent was definitely different with the Cowboys and Washington. I think he was a good coach, a good coach at certain places. He's been in a lot of places. But you're right. I mean, it's just kind of the way the timing kind of works out like that.
Right. And one more thing, one more memory.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Troy Aikman outthrew Deion Sanders in the Super Bowl?
In the Super Bowl?
Yes, I think it was the Super Bowl. He 3-step drop and he overthrew Deion. And he came back to the sidelines. It was on a video. It said, "I can't believe I outthrew primetime."
Yeah. I thanks for the call. My memory is different than yours a little bit on that. You might be right. But what I remember, and I think what you're referring to, that was actually against the Falcons in his first game. His first game with the Cowboys was against the Falcons at the Georgia Dome, and he threw a deep, deep ball, and Deion dove to like the 1 yard line and missed it. And I mean, threw it as far as he could throw it, and it was like across the field, and Deion dove and just missed it. Would have been a great highlight. In the Super Bowl that year, he did not outthrow Deion on a deep ball. Deion was kind of waiting for it a little bit. It was like a 50-yard pass over the middle. Great catch, and that kind of set up the first touchdown of the game. That's my memory. If he overthrew Deion in the Super Bowl, I apologize. But I think what you're talking about with the NFL films caught him on the sideline going, I didn't think I could outthrow Deion. I think it was against the Falcons there. But, I'm trying to work on. I'm not trying to correct people. My years. I'm a little finicky when it comes to years and all that sort of stuff. But we're talking about 30-something years ago, obviously. Well, no, sorry, 28 years ago. We all know how many years ago it was from 1995. Everyone talks about that 28 years ago. All right, Michael in Germany. Wow.
Hey, Nick.
What's up, man? How are you? What time is it over there?
It's just about 5:30.
5:30. Okay.
In the evening, yeah.
In the evening. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Got you. All right.
So I got 2 quick stories for you, and the second one is going to dig way back. I'm going to test your memory and then tie that into a question. So The first story is I grew up – this is an old-timer story. I grew up in Abilene, Texas.
Okay.
And that was back in – it would have been about 78, give or take, 78, 79. And that was when they would come around – the players would come around playing basketball.
Okay.
All around, right?
Yeah.
And they came in to Abilene one year and played, and after the game was over – Mom and Dad, my sister, and I went down on the court, and I wanted to get Tony Hill's autograph because I love Tony Hill.
Yeah.
And so we walked by, and I'm also wanting to see whoever else is there, and walk over, and he's sitting there by himself.
Okay.
And so I walk up and ask for his autograph. He's like, yeah, sure. So he signs, thank you. We go to walk away. All of a sudden you hear, it's like the Mean Joe Green ad. All of a sudden he goes, hey, kid. I turn around. He goes, you want your picture made? Like, yes, please. So that picture is still on the family, family wall.
Who had a camera? I mean, what was it like?
My parents.
Polaroid? I mean, what do we have? Yeah.
Yeah, just a good old
camera.
roll of film
there
in the camera and get it, developed.
Take it to the store.
Later.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's my old timer. Tony Hill was my guy back then.
Tony Hill.
Now here we go. We're going to go back another about 5, 6, 7 years to October 8th, 1973, Monday Night Football. Okay. When I was born, Dallas was playing. Do you know?
In 73.
Yeah.
The week, like October 8th of 73?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know that one. I'm Washington.
Yes, yes. And I was born in Fairfax County Hospital right outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So I always look forward to the Dallas-Washington game.
Okay.
And my question for you is there a game on the calendar every year or like every 4 years, 3 or 4 years, whatever, when there's some team that you say, we're finally playing them again. I really want to see this matchup.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it, Michael, and love the support that you have there because it's a commitment. Obviously, when you're dealing with time zones and things like that, games are played at different times, and so we learned that when we went over to London, just how those are the dedicated fans for sure because it's so hard to get the news and to get to watch the games and to stay current and all that stuff. So I appreciate that more than you know. It's hard to say, I want to see them or want to face them. Not really. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you. The matchups like that, I don't get too worked up about the schedule in April because of what happened right now. I mean, you think, you're going to get Aaron Rodgers in week 2, and you don't. So also, the Bills and the Dolphins and late in the year. What if it's not? What if it's not a big game? What if that doesn't matter? You just never know. And so I don't really get too worked up about certain places. And there's some AFC teams, places we don't go to for every 8 years, I enjoy going to Pittsburgh. I like that. But usually don't enjoy the outcome. But the last time I think we were there was at 16. I mean, that was one of the best games I can remember. So, when you go to a place like that and you get a win, that's fun just because from a historical standpoint. But Denver is another place which I don't know if the Cowboys have ever won in Denver. That I've seen in the regular season. Probably missing one. They might have won, but for the most part, no, not really. So all right, let's go to the phone lines. We got Chase in Northwest Arkansas. Chase, I got a question for you.
Go ahead, Nick.
Is Rocket playing?
That is a good question. I feel like
probably not.
Coach Pittman is probably 50-50, I would guess. I actually helped escort the away team. I'm a police officer, right? I helped escort the away team to the games.
Oh, okay. So you got
yeah.
But my question is about he's of Northwest Arkansas, which is right over by where the Arkansas Razorbacks play. They have a game against BYU. Rocket Sanders is their star running back, and I think he's actually been ruled out for that game. So good luck. Yeah. Good luck turning, getting BYU to the stadium late or whatever you're going to do there. Chase, what's up? What do you got?
Hey, so one thing I just want to bring up, cool memory. You're the history guy. A player that I actually went to offense defense football camp in 2003 at University of Texas at Dallas, and we had a few Dallas Cowboys come visit while we were at that camp, and one of them was James Whalen, and he came with Ross Tucker, and they gave us a cool pep talk. Being a young kid, 12 years old at the time, and getting that pep talk from real life NFL players. Now, other people showed up like Anthony Dorsett, Tony Dorsett's son, and I think Woody Dantzler and Keith Davis came by and said hi.
Wow.
Yeah. But James Whalen, I'll never forget. James Whalen was the most humble guy, and for a player that not a lot of people will ever know was on the team. He was the guy that once I got home, I got on Madden. I made sure I made him all 99. He was my star tight end on Madden.
Real quick question for you. What number was James Whalen?
Oh, shoot.
I'm sorry. It's a trick question because he wore 5. He wore 5 numbers. He was like 81, 82, 83, 45, and maybe like 85. I mean, he wore a bunch of numbers.
I remember he was 81 whenever I was at the camp.
Yeah.
That's because that's what he signed my football as, 81, and then Ross Tucker, I believe, signed 66.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was just a cool memory.
Cool.
I remember you talking about James Whalen in the past and how humble of a guy he was. He truly was, and it was a really awesome experience as a 12-year-old kid to watch him and listen to him. But what I want to talk about on this current roster is everybody being difficult with Dak after a game. Anybody that's ever played football knows that, especially when you're handling the football, any kind of moisture, let alone a downpour like they were dealing with, I think that it's quick to say he had an off game or Dak looked like he was rusty, all this kind of stuff. Hell, man, anytime you're going to play in that kind of weather, the kind of ball that he played, especially with a complimentary defense, I think we'll see what kind of player Dak Prescott's going to be whenever he's playing at AT&T Stadium this Sunday, and that we're going to see a leader of men that we've always seen in Dak Prescott, but we'll also see more of what we heard from Mike McCarthy himself. The weather definitely changed their playbook. Yeah. So getting to see, but we still got to see, down near the goal line, that play where it was a designed Dak run to the left. I'm excited to see those kind of things where Dak is, it's just designed, and the fact that he was getting the ball out in 2.3 seconds is just going to help him. And I'm excited to see what they do this weekend. Even not to throw any shade against this Jets defense, I think they're phenomenal what they were able to do to bail Zach Wilson out of the game the other night against the Bills. But I think I don't even think this game is close. I think 2-score, if not 3-score ball game by the end of the night. Go Cowboys and move big. Thanks, Nick.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Chase, the police officer named Chase. Like it. Well, not always. It's really not a good thing. Chris Beam, a producer, says, Chase, can you do a favor? If you pull someone over and they're not going too fast, maybe you let them go and say, hey, make sure and check out Cowboys Storyline on DallasCowboys.com. If you can do that, then everybody wins, as long as they're not going too fast. Yeah. Yes, a lot of good stuff there. James Whalen, is one of my all-time favorite players that's ever played. I consider him, I don't have a lot of guys I would say that was my friend. James Whalen is a friend of mine. I still talk to him a lot. He's doing great. He lives in Fort Worth, and he's doing awesome. And he's one of my favorite guys that's ever played for the Cowboys. Tells a lot of good stories, and like you said, really, really good dude. That does, I didn't know that story, but that doesn't surprise me at all about him going and giving some good advice and just being real, because that's the thing. He's just a cool dude, and so he was, and a great college player, like most of these guys. But he was a great college player. I think Kentucky actually put him in their Hall of Fame not too long ago, because he was an unbelievable tight end and really a tough mismatch there. And that's what he was in college. I think. It's what he was in the NFL too. I think injuries kind of hurt him a little bit there. We pretty much out of time here. That was it for the calls, because we got to go a little bit earlier than normal today, because we have Mike McCarthy's press conference coming up here live. It should be at 10:45. A lot of good stuff, though, from you guys today. A lot of great stuff. We got 10 calls. We'll take that all day long, especially on a little bit of a shorter show. Going back to that last caller here, that he was talking about Dak playing well, and I think the consensus is this. People just want to nitpick a little bit and go, oh, this new offense, and they didn't see what they wanted to see. The game got out of hand. It was not going to be conducive of Dak putting up a lot of stats. But the stat that he didn't put up is the one you should be excited about. There was no interceptions, no turnovers, and it was in it was a spot where you're going to turn the ball over a little bit. It's hard to kind of keep your hands on the football, and I thought he did they all did a good job of that. Pollard did have the fumble that they recovered. The Cowboys recovered, but for the most part, I thought they did a great job there. Dak did what you're supposed to do in a game like that. Drove the offense, they scored, they took care of the football, they took care of the lead, and they made sure that they did their part, while the defense and special teams will certainly doing theirs. All right, so this will be our show for today. We'll come back tomorrow, same time, 10 o'clock, probably go just a little bit longer. Want to get all your calls, get all your opinions, and all your thoughts about Cowboys and Jets. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you tomorrow on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?